Fabio Speranza is an Italian man who edits a model airplane column in an online newsroom. He has been working in this office for 4 years, and from day one he has been in love with Linda, his beautiful colleague, a tall, slender, blonde woman. However, the woman is unaware of his existence since the man has never had the courage to approach her to talk to her, or at the very least offer her coffee. Linda, in turn, works in a newsroom managing the column of women in love, who send love letters to the newspaper to confess their feelings. Ironically, Linda cannot confess to anyone that she is in love and in a relationship with the editor-in-chief, Johnny. In fact, the two are limited to a few quick meetings in the office away from the gaze of others, and have decided to keep the relationship a secret to avoid gossip. For this reason Fabio is very angry, but he doesn't give up to win the heart of the woman he loves. He then proceeds to puncture the tire of the woman's car to give her a hand with the change and finally introduce himself to her. However, as Fabio is not a good mechanic and understands little about cars, he ends up making a fool of himself in front of the woman, who is forced to take a cab. The next day he leaves her a rose on the table, hoping she will remember him, but of course the woman thinks it was a romantic gesture by Johnny. Fabio spies on Linda via his toy helicopter to find out what she likes, ending up shaving his beard to follow the woman's preferred aesthetic standards, but in the end it is all in vain. Meanwhile, still in the city of Rome, two young boys return from military service for the Christmas vacations. They plan to have some fun and do something different, so they have booked tickets to Rio de Janeiro. Marco Patani, however, is worried that his father will not give him permission to leave, since it is too far away. Therefore, Piero Berni advises him to lie to his father and say that they will actually leave for Madrid, which is a safer and closer destination. Piero's father, Paolo Berni, is actually a divorced and selfish man who himself has already booked a vacation to Rio de Janeiro, and now has to cancel to his great annoyance because his son has come to visit him for the Christmas vacations. He calls at the agency and cancels his ticket, lying about his mother's sudden death. However, when Piero asks his permission to go to Madrid, the father immediately agrees and calls the agency to book another ticket. However, there is another problem. Marco's father also needs to be asked for permission. Mario Patani, Marco's father, is a professor of ethics at the University of Rome, himself divorced, who secretly engages in an affair with one of the students in his course. The young girl, threatening to break off the relationship with the man and tell everyone the truth, forces him to give up his family vacation to take her somewhere on a trip. Therefore, when the son asks him to give him permission to leave for Madrid for Christmas, Mario pretends that he is sorry, but in fact he is delighted to have solved such a serious problem. When the two boys leave happily to confirm the flight to Rio, Paul confesses to Mario that he has booked a beautiful villa in Rio with young girls, so he will spend Christmas in happiness. The coincidences don't end there. The mothers of the two boys are already in Rio as they have decided to undergo breast augmentation surgery, but they haven't told anyone to keep it a secret. Editor-in-chief Johnny, who is actually a lover of women and cheats on Linda whenever he can, finds her profile while scrolling through a dating site. He asks his girlfriend what she is doing on a dating site, but the woman says she would never do such a thing and it is definitely someone's joke. Linda asks him not to think about it, especially since they have to leave for Rio together tomorrow and enjoy a nice vacation together before their wedding. Shortly after, in fact, she finds out that it was her colleague who signed up for the dating site by putting Linda's photos up because she is a very attractive woman, and she was just enjoying flirting with men in the chat room. Fabio, spying on women, sees Linda's profile and believes that she is now single, so he decides to take action. He sends her an anonymous message writing a poem, and Linda is impressed to read it because it is a poem by her favorite writer. She then believes that it is Johnny who is playing a joke on her, since only he can know her so well. She decides to play it a little to make Johnny jealous, making Fabio think she is attracted to him. The next day Marco and Piero leave for the airport, and the fathers can't wait to say goodbye to them to leave in their turn. Paolo rushes to the agency to pick up his ticket, but discovers that the last two available tickets have been bought by Mario. When he approaches to talk to them, he discovers that Mario has stolen his idea of leaving for Rio by taking the student with him, so as to stay as far away from Rome as possible. Paul is obviously angry, and now he can only hope for a miracle, which in fact happens. The girl is hit by a car and has to be taken to the hospital to be put in a cast, so she will not be able to leave with the professor. Since he now has an extra ticket and by now the vacation has been paid for, Mario decides to give him up to Paolo and leave together for Rio. Linda continues to chat and flirt on the dating site with the anonymous profile who confesses to spying on her while she works, convincing herself even more that he is Johnny. Tired of the game, she tells him that she will go rest now and they can leave for Rio together tomorrow. The next day Fabio shows up at the airport happy and asks for the seat next to Linda, who calls his girlfriend. However, when he gets on board he realizes that he has been a jerk the whole time. He then makes up a story, telling the couple that he is going to Rio to meet relatives. Landing in Rio after a 23-hour flight, Piero, and Marco look for the man from the agency who is supposed to give them the car and hostel room keys. They are stunned when they find out that their vacation package, for which they spent very little, includes a sporty convertible and a knockout villa with 2 girls who will serve as yoga instructors. We then understand that the Fathers and Sons vacation packages were reversed by mistake, as both groups have the same last name. The 2 men find themselves driving a broken car and staying in a smelly hostel in one of Rio's most infamous areas, despite having paid so much for a luxury vacation. Their misfortunes do not end there. Wandering around Rio looking for some better hotels to stay in, the 2 men are robbed by dangerous street boys, who also throw them into a toilet. On the other side of town, Fabio is staying in the same residence as Linda and Johnny, and still tries to impress the woman. Johnny, in fact, is often distracted by local girls, leaving his unsuspecting girlfriend alone. While Linda and Fabio participate in a game organized by the village entertainers, they discover that Johnny has been hiding in a bungalow to cheat on his girlfriend with a local girl. Linda remains in shock as Johnny had already proposed to her and they arrived in Rio to meet the father of the woman who is to arrange the wedding. To avoid telling her father that she has been betrayed, Linda lies and introduces Fabio as Johnny, kissing him and making him stunned. When the father leaves to get the car, the woman asks Fabio to pretend to be in love with her for a few days, not knowing that Fabio is in love with her for real. Mario and Paul are hosted at the home of a local woman, but she apparently wants payment in kind in return. The men try to avoid her as much as possible, and take the opportunity to call the agency, discovering that there has been a mistake and that their villa is nearby. They then run away from the woman, accidentally ending up killing her beloved cat before leaving. When they arrive at their mansion it is already dark. They decide to climb over the fence since they don't have keys and it is dangerous to walk around Rio at night. In the process Paul falls on a cactus and Mario is forced to remove the thorns. The neighbor misinterprets the scene and calls the police to say that 2 dangerous maniacal thieves are roaming the area. When the police arrive, the 2 men try to explain the situation, but at that moment the woman who had hosted them in the house practices a voodoo ritual to take revenge for the death of her cat. The 2 men end up doing strange things with the police and are then arrested, while the neighbor believes everyone is a maniac. The 2 boys find themselves at the bar and begin ordering alcohol for the girls and everyone present, driven by the euphoria of the night. The owner of the bar, Ventrilia, arrives to ask the boys if they are able to pay, but they run away being that they are penniless. The next day Linda asks Fabio to fake a scene and insult her in front of her father in order to break up with him as a pretense, but the man is unable to do so because he loves the woman. For the first time in 4 years Linda begins to realize that Fabio is a man with a heart of gold. Mario and Paolo finally arrive at their villa, helped by an Italian embassy official who bailed them out of jail, but when they arrive at the house, they are mistaken for Ventrilia's men and then beaten by their own sons, who proceed to escape. Later at the beach, ironically, Mario meets Paolo's ex-wife, while the latter impresses Mario's ex-wife. The 2 decide to split up and have fun with the women, but without knowing that they are each other's ex-wives. When they take them to bed at night, they start talking to the women and discover the hard truth. Neither talking in the kitchen, but they don't seem to give it too much thought as they are divorced and hate each other. At the same time, the 2 boys return to the villa to retrieve their passports and return to Italy, but they discover to their shock that the 2 men they had beaten earlier are their fathers. The 4 then go for drinks to discuss the situation. Both groups lie about why they are here, and decide not to give any thought to the funny situation so as not to ruin family relationships. Fabio attends the ceremony in memory of Linda's deceased aunt and ends up making a mess, getting kicked out by Linda's father who never wants to see him in his house again. Linda is overjoyed at this since it was just what she wanted, and she thinks Fabio did it on purpose as agreed. Soon after, Johnny also arrives to apologize to his fiancée for cheating on her, but the girl doesn't accept his apology and sends him away, demanding that he never come back into her life again. That night, after getting drunk, Fabio decides to write a love letter to Linda, confessing all his feelings and all the things he hasn't had the courage to tell her over the years. The film ends with Linda being in the office again, but this time she is engaged to Fabio since she has realized that she cannot let go of a man who loves her so much. Subscribe for more videos like this one, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel grow. Thanks for watching.